find out today. I got a lot of information I'm really excited to share with you, including what my market forecast is going into year end. And above all else, I do have a really exciting stock pick that I'm looking forward to sharing with you at the end today. So you'll definitely want to stick around for that. I hope you are having a good summer. I'm actually broadcasting to you live here from central Italy. I've been over here in Europe for the last month or so. And it's been very hot. So, we're talking about freeze points, trying to cool things off a little bit here. And I think it's really helpful to keep a cool head in this market, regardless of what type of trader you are or what type of environment you're used to trading in. Staying calm, cool, and collected definitely has its advantages. And so we're going to discuss how to maintain that type of level head in a market environment that could be on the verge of some significant volatility in the coming days and weeks. So you want to stay tuned. Again, thanks for joining me today. I'm really excited to get into all of this material. Everything we're going to talk about today is not financial advice. It is for your education only. My brokerage days are in the past. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. But, we're not selling you any stocks. We're not selling you any sort of securities. This is for informational and illustrative purposes only. And of course, all of this information that we're sharing here is part of Theo Trade, and you can take a look at our phone number if you have any questions there, 1-800-256-8876. And of course, if you have any questions or comments that you would like to let us know about, you can send us an email at support@theotrade.com. So we're here to talk about freeze points. And before we get into this very in-depth discussion, I hope you are ready to get comfortable. Here in Europe, where I'm at right now, it's about 7 o'clock in the evening. So, the sun is starting to set. But if you're in the United States or just in the Americas for that matter, it's still pretty early in the day. So, might be coming back for lunch or even joining me during your lunch hour. Either way, try to kind of just dial into this webinar that we're having here together. Turn off your social media, put your phone aside. If your kids are nagging you or your grandkids, just tell them, hey, I need to focus on this. It's going to be pretty important for you as well. It's important for them because we like to build generational wealth here. That is what we do. This whole market business is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So you have taken the time to be here today. Dedicate it to yourself. Give yourself some time. You're going to learn something today. I can guarantee it. And you're going to come away a more informed trader or investor. So the world is pretty tense right now. I've been here, like I said, in Europe for about a month, and just getting a different perspective on things. And there is tension in the air over across the pond as well. So you're seeing this reflected in markets, in headlines, the news, financial press, and even in your portfolio, especially if you don't have a way to take a calm, cool, and collected approach to the market. It can be a very stressful time to be navigating these waters. But the good news is that as professionals, we have ways to do that. We have ways to do that. And I'm going to be telling you exactly how I have been doing this for a very long time. So, I like to use charts. I'm a charts guy. And the way I look at charts is a lot different, and it's very unique compared to other traders and investors. I was born into the charts, if you will. I learned how to trade on the internet. I wasn't one of those tape readers, or I wasn't on the trading floor, screaming, hollering, and getting in the mosh pit in Chicago or New York City. I'm a trader that learned how to trade on the charts, on the internet, on the computer. I live and breathe this stuff. And so I've developed a method that identifies when a chart that looks calm is about to go crazy, and even a way that gives you an idea or a sense when charts that are going crazy are about to calm down. And so what we're doing here is looking for these freeze points, what I'm talking about, that show how pressure can either build or collapse without any obvious catalyst. Well, I'm going to share that catalyst with you today, and it's really helped me nail some big winners here in the last few months. Names like IonQ, Robinhood, DoorDash. Astera Labs, Palantir, names that have been in the headlines in this market after the fact, right? After the fact. If you're watching CNBC or Fox Business, they're only reporting on these stocks. Oh, look, Palantir is up another 10%. Recently it's been dropping. We already got out of that stock for a profit. But Astera Labs, hot name, Robinhood, completely revolutionizing the financial system, quantum stocks, IonQ. These are themes, these are stocks that my freeze point system was able to pinpoint very early on that, hey, this thing's about to burst. This thing's about to explode. The pressure's building. You get in now, or you're going to miss out on the boat. So that's what I want to talk about today. If you're always late, you're not seeing the ice bands on these charts because the smart money is leaving little crumbs, little clues. And if you know how to spot them, if you can crystallize this setup, freeze in that moment in time, it gives yourself a moment to act, then you can capitalize because it's not so much about what you're trading or why you're trading, it's when you're trading it. People like to say you can't time the markets. Honestly, I think that's just a really big coping mechanism, especially if you have a similar background to me or you run in those circles, money management, stuff like that. I did that once upon a time. I think it's just an inconvenient, or just a rather a convenient way to just justify an inability to beat the markets over an extended period of time. Well, I'm going to show you today exactly how that can be done because I've been doing it for a long time. So it has to do with the ice bands, has to do with the freeze points. We know what the smart money is doing. And in fact, you don't have to be on Wall Street to be part of that smart money crew. The world has changed, guys. Wall Street doesn't carry the same prestige as it once did. It's why 90% of money managers on Wall Street underperformed the benchmark. So where are the skilled traders at now? I mean, yeah, there's definitely still some on Wall Street, but it's not like everyone on Wall Street is part of the club. There is a club, but a lot of people leave the club. I left the club. I came into this world where I could share information with everyday people because that's where I come from, as I'll talk to you about in a bit. And just so you know, this isn't some fancy MACD explanation or Fibonacci extensions or RSI. Will I use some of those tools time to time? Sure, but that's really not the edge. That's really not going to make the difference for you as an individual trader or investor, especially because everybody else is doing it. You have to understand that what makes something work is when not that many people are doing it. If too many people are doing it, it loses its special effect. Okay. So technically, yeah, I'm in the retail world because I'm off of Wall Street. So are you. But that doesn't mean that we can't leverage the same tools that those in the in crowd use to beat the market consistently over time. Okay. So the market is leaving a bread trail, a trail of crumbs, if you will. But I'm sure you've had an experience. Pretty much every trader that I know has had this, where a stock looks great, and then you get in, and then the rug gets pulled out from under you. And then sometimes a stock has been doing nothing for a period of time and then it suddenly comes to life. Why is that happening? Well, if you want to learn why, you are in the right place here today. And then most importantly, why are people always caught off guard? If you've kind of had the sense that, hey, I'm missing something and you feel it in your gut that it's out there, well, freeze points is what you've been looking for. So you've come to the right place. So what if you had the tool and the ability to see the pressure building underneath the surface of a stock, and really just any market for that matter? Doesn't have to be stocks. It can be the S&P 500. It can be commodities. It can be cryptocurrencies. I trade a lot of things, guys. I'm not a one-trick pony. How could your trading change? And more importantly, how could your life change if you were able to spot these setups before the big breaks happen? Okay. And like I said, all the smart money is not on Wall Street anymore. It's 2025, guys. It's a lot better off the street if you ask me. So what I'm about to share with you is my proprietary system that I have developed over the past decade plus that has allowed me to detect these big moves before they happen. You'll see where these stocks, where the market overall cracked without warning. I mean, it's like we're asleep and then the big moves happened. And, before the move happens, the media is telling you that the world's ending and everything's terrible. And then after the move happens, everything is awesome. And, you missed out on the boat. And, if only you would have known, well, you are going to know now. And like I said, I'm saving my next pick. I'm saving a very beautiful freeze point setup for you. Stick around until the end. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am Gianni Poce. I have been here at Theo Trade now for a few years. I've been in this business for over 14 years now. I started off in the financial services industry. I got into the business actually very early on in my early 20s, before I even graduated college. I became a stockbroker, did the whole Series 7, Series 66 thing, did that for several years. And basically, as soon as I get in, I got thrown in to the wolves and said, "Hey, you're the new guy. You got some tech skills, and we're going to make you the trader on this $250 million portfolio." And I said, "What? Okay." But my time in the industry was very valuable. Didn't take very long for me to realize it wasn't for me. But what I was able to do was rub shoulders with some very impressive individuals, that manage money. We're talking about guys that manage the biggest bond fund portfolios in the world. Not going to say their name, but I've been to Detroit Tigers games with people like that. And so, I'll get on these calls with portfolio managers. I really got in on the inside, learned what they were doing. And then what was even nicer is I could see what their returns were like. So they would basically lay out all their cards on the table for me, and I could see what their results were. So I was able to cherry pick a few techniques here and there, blended it all into my own cocktail, if you will, and I developed the freeze point system. Now, I said I'm here in Italy. It's I'm not in a very touristy area. I'm here in central Italy, about right in between Rome and Naples. I'm a little bit closer to Rome than I am in Naples. So when I say, I'm a retired farmer, come from a pretty strong agricultural background. My family was in the cattle merchant business in this world. And if you know any sort of history on economics and just history of money, cattle used to be considered currency. It used to be a form of money. And so in a way, I've been in the money business for a long time, just not, I guess in a more antiquated form. But over in the States, I did bring over a lot of that agricultural lifestyle into my way of life. I actually was in the produce business simultaneously as being in the financial services business. I love to get my hands dirty. I like hard work. I feel like it keeps you humble, and it's a good way to help balance out some of the highs that can come in trading. Not to mention, I do forever view myself as a student of the market. Markets, it is important to maintain a healthy level of humility and respect towards the market. So let's not lose sight of the bigger goal here. We are always trying to align ourselves with the market. The market is bigger than you, the market is bigger than me. And the good news is if we work together and align ourselves, hey, we can live off a lot of the meat that the market provides. So you may have seen my work on some outlets such as Benzinga, Yahoo Finance, Business Insider, and more. I've been in the educational space now for several years. I got out of the money management business in January of 2020, so I did sidestep the COVID crash, which was a pretty good timing for an exit, if you ask me. And basically the way that this freeze point system works is that my life completely changed after that run. A lot of traders did very well after the COVID crash. 2021 was a very exciting market, but a lot of them blew up their accounts because they were gambling. They were gambling. We are not gamblers. There's a big difference between speculation and gambling. And the difference is the freeze point system. So we're going to talk about that today. I do want to share my 5-year results here with you. So as you can see, I've been absolutely demolishing the S&P 500. And, I say this with the greatest amount of humility towards you because it's not something I take for granted. Saying I'm here in Italy right now, very humble roots. It's a very beautiful area. The wealth is in the land itself here versus, dollars and euros, comparatively speaking. But, the S&P 500 over the last 5 years, It's doubled. It's doubled. But have you been keeping track of inflation over the last 5 years? Yeah, I would say conservatively, the price of living has probably gone up like 70 to 80%. In some areas, it's doubled. So stocks are keeping pace with inflation, but I'm not interested in maintaining my wealth. I'm interested in growing my wealth. That is what I do. I love to build wealth, not just for myself but with others. I've been doing this now. I've been in the financial business now for over 14 years. I started off doing that, but I realized after a few years that I could actually better serve the people around me by educating them on how markets work and how systems work and how you can beat the market, how timing the market is possible. It is possible. And only the naysayers, those that have given up, on their pursuit of doing so will tell you it's not possible. And so these are the returns to basically show you that it can be done. And anyone that is telling you that it cannot be done, all I'm going to say is get away from them. Get away from them because you are the company you keep. So the fact that you're here today, you made a choice, you made a decision to be here. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. And I think you will come away with some very valuable information. So, I watched a lot of good traders and investors struggle. There's a whole psychological component to trading. They say buy when there's blood in the streets, be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Well, that's honestly easier said than done. And it's a lot harder to do when you don't have a system that is telling you when to get in, when to get out, and when to recognize that, hey, you know, this isn't going according to plan. This is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So you're not going to be sprinting an entire marathon. So I've worked with so many traders that had all the technical skills in the world. They had decent discipline, but they just were not aligned. They were not aligned with the ebbs and flows of the market. They were zigging when the market was zagging, and they were zagging when the market was zigging. You see, I view the market, my relationship with the market is one as like it's like a feedback loop, right? I don't care so much about being right. I'm not here to say, "Oh, look, I got this right and this is, if you just did it exactly the way this way, you could too." No, it's more about making money. We're here to make money. We're in this market to make money. And the freeze point system is the best way to do that. So, throw funny mental analysis out the window. Even technical analysis. A lot of traders out there, I mean, if you spend any amount of time on the internet, that's not technical analysis. I live and I breathe this stuff, guys. Okay. And there's all different types of, volume profile out there. That's just not my bread and butter. I keep it simple. I keep it simple. This is a repeatable process. This is a scalable system, more importantly. So whether, you're starting off, I graduated college with student loans, guys. I wasn't born into money, had a very middle class lifestyle growing up. And everything that I have managed to accumulate and build over the years is thanks to this freeze point system. Okay. So I want to share it with you because regardless of where you are in your financial journey, I want you to be able to grow your wealth. That's very important to me. So I'm calling it the freeze point system. It's not another indicator. It's not a recycle trading system. It's something that I have built over the years, fine-tuned. It's proprietary. This is my life's work, if you will. And so it's an honor to share it with you. And what are we doing? We're looking to see where the pressure is building before it cracks in the market, in stocks, in crypto, in commodities, in bonds, in currencies, whatever you'd like. This is the way to find when a big move is coming. So let me show you how it works. Let me show you how it works. Let's start off by taking a look at this stock, Astera Labs, okay? You've probably seen this stock in the headlines as of late. It's in like the semiconductor AI space. For a while, it was doing nothing. Feel free to respond to me in chat and let me know, what do you see happening in this chart? You can see that we're looking at a period here from what, May into July. Stock was doing nothing. It was doing nothing. Snooze fest, boring, right? Wrong, wrong. We had a break in the freeze point, a break in the ice band, And you see when you break above this blue bar, the freeze point cracks, the ice band cracks, and you get the big move. We were able to nail down profits in Astera Labs for 61.4% in just 22 days. And, I'm the type of trader where I put my money where my mouth is. And I live by this system. This is what I do. I'm not going to tell you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. I'm not that type of person. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be here if that was the case, right? So I put my own money where my mouth is. We nailed the 61% gain. We got into this stock July 18th, got out August 6th, so earlier this month. And, we've been on absolute fire recently. And the good news is that, when you had that sell-off back into April, there's still people that are in a way traumatized by it. They haven't gotten over it. They haven't gotten over it. And I gotta say, it really is music to my ears. It really is music to my ears. And when I get into the, my forecast portion of today's event, telling you what I'm seeing in this market going into year end, I think you're gonna appreciate where we are and how much opportunity is available right now. The market provides windows of opportunity where the getting is very good. We are in that time now. We just got out of the first inning, guys. Take a look at IonQ here, okay? Quantum name. What do you see in this chart? Tell me in the chat. I'm curious if you see anything because the average person, the average trader does not see anything. They see a range bound stock. They see a stock that is asleep. They see a stock that is boring. Well, not the freeze point system. You can see that as soon as this stock broke above the ice band, you start to see the big move. IonQ gave us a 59% return in a little over 3 months. In a little over 3 months. It was actually one of the first stocks that I bought coming out of that low on April 7th. As you can see here, I got in on April 9th. The market bottomed 2 days before. How many people do you know were actually buying stocks 2 days off of the market bottom? And that's the beauty and the importance, the absolute necessity of having a system to trade because it gives you the signals. You don't doubt, you don't hesitate, you're moving with time, you're zigging when the market is zigging, and you zag when the market zags. You're not doing the opposite. We bought because of the freeze point system 2 days after the market bottom. And did this outperform the S&P 500? Yeah, it's one stock. But if you want to outperform the benchmarks, if you want to outperform the S&P, you need to own the stocks that are doing better than the S&P. I'm going to show you some numbers on that front in just a moment. Here's another example, DoorDash stock. If I pulled 100 or 1,000 experienced traders and asked them what's going to happen now, look into their crystal ball. What are they going to say? Well, they're probably going to say nothing. This is a stock that is range bound. Well, once again, with the freeze point system, I have a level of optics that traders don't have at their level. This is like being able to look into a big block of ice and see all the crystal patterns, the hidden beauty, the hidden order in the universe that, in a way, some of us know exist in our guts. Okay, so you broke above the freeze point here on DoorDash, and you got a 33% rip higher in just over 2 months. You can see here, I got these always crack me up, these little like fractional shares, but I don't mind doing that. I care more about the percentages on these trades than anything else. But we did come away with a 33% gain on this DoorDash stock between May and August. So as you can see, we rode this wave up. We rode this wave up. And a lot of people were scared, a lot of institutions, a lot of those professional money managers, excuse me, they've not participated in this rally. And so I want you to think about this. If you work with an advisor or you have an account with the broker where the money is, getting invested for you, or even an ETF, right? They're picking these stocks. They're buying these stocks. In a lot of cases, they're missing out on the biggest windows of opportunities because they're scared. They're scared. And then they chase the move higher and they end up being greedy at the top. Well, that's not how we do things here. You could take a look at Robinhood Markets, another stock that has been all over the market headlines. Okay. It's been on absolute fire. We participated in it. Look at how this stock was trading within this ice band. What was the signal to get long? As soon as it broke above it, the freeze point trigger signal, time froze in the moment. It gave us an opportunity to act. We did. We took the opportunity and we were rewarded. We actually scaled out of this trade. It was a two-part exit because it looked so strong. 44% gain in 34 days and 66% gain in 51 days. I mean, these types of trades without options. I'm not against options, guys, and you're going to hear um, what I think about options in just a moment. So stay tuned for that. But I'm using these setups to illustrate the types of moves that are present without leverage. You don't need to start with leverage. You need to start with consistency. You need to start with strength. You need to start with trends. The freeze point system nails all those down for you. And as you can see here, Robinhood, another name that I took and we took here, and it was actually a wonderful setup. So Core Scientific, another name. Let me just pause right there because I'm going to talk about this in my market forecast portion of today's discussion. Are you seeing a theme with these names, by the way? Do you see how perhaps these stocks that we're trading actually play off of one another? If you do, feel free to drop it in the chat. If not, you're going to want to stay tuned because I'm going to talk about this. We're entering a new economic era. The world is changing. You know, they say that sometimes there are years where decades happen and there are decades where nothing happens. Well, I think we're actually in one of those eras right now. We're having more innovation take place in this world, in this environment. Honestly, the last time was in the dot-com bubble. And what type of environment was that? It was a really good environment for traders. We are in, for lack of a better term, the golden age of trading. This is a golden age of trading. If you're not able to spot the stocks that are going to have the biggest moves, you're going to get left behind. It's a cruel world out there, guys. I mean, I wish it weren't so. You know, I have a couple kids at home, got my family here with me overseas. Been here for quite some time. You know, my kids are meeting their extended family, meeting their grandparents. I actually even have my grandmother still alive, bless her heart. And you know, my kids are a little confused when they meet their great grandmother, but you know, they are warming up slowly but surely, as you can imagine. But the reason I'm saying this is because it's interesting to see the generational dynamics at play here, right? And I think the market environment that we're in right now is going to define the next generation in many ways, in many ways. And you don't necessarily have to understand everything that's happening, but you certainly can make money on it, right? You certainly can make money on it. And I think we have an obligation and a duty to our loved ones, to those in our circle, to kind of be the ones that guide them through times of turbulence. You know, I do view it as a very serious responsibility. It's not something that I take lightly, um, because you know people rely on me, people rely on you. That's why, I mean, obviously you wouldn't be here if that weren't the case. You're interested in growing your wealth. You're interested in growing your money. This isn't something that's done overnight. It's a process that takes time to happen. But once you understand the freeze point system, once you have this tool in your back pocket, you will have a way to approach this market and build your wealth that way. I mean, look at this Core Scientific, 42% in 30 days. An absolute monster move. An absolute monster move. So there it is. Money where the mouth is. I would never, you know, basically, I would never buy a stock that I wouldn't tell someone else to do. And I wouldn't tell someone to buy a stock that I wouldn't buy myself. I mean, why would I do that when I have this freeze point system here at hand? Quantum, here's another name, Arc Quick Quantum. You know, here I was a moment ago talking about how the world is changing. Quantum computing is kind of the next frontier beyond artificial intelligence. Yeah, everyone's talking about AI now. But as someone who lives and breathes markets, here I am looking into the future and just seeing where the money is flowing in this environment. And I say, you know, this quantum stuff could actually be legit. And if it is, we're going to have to rethink the entire way we interact on the internet. Well, we're not there yet. I'm even like entertaining calling it Q day, kind of like the day we realize that the internet's going to change forever and the way we interact with money and computers is going to change forever. But I can certainly put money into it and grow my wealth based on that. And that's exactly what I did here in our Quick Quantum. This is a quantum cybersecurity firm. We're going to have to change the way we view computers, guys. There's some tremendous opportunities here, and the freeze point system. Let's be real, guys. Not every AI stock out there, not every tech stock, not every quantum stock, not every crypto company is going to make it through the next several years just because they have the right name or, a general business model that fits the theme. The world's more complicated than that, right? The world's more complicated than that. And so understanding that markets are complicated and markets are complex, what do? We move to simplify things. When the world is complex, you make decisions by simplifying. If you're trading against computers that move a million miles an hour, what do you do to counteract that? You slow it down. You slow it down. You seek the balance. And that's what we did here in our quick quantum, 103% move in 45 days. And yes, if you're wondering, we actually did sell that high wick right there. It wasn't the exact high. We sold this stock around $47 per share, but 103% gain. Okay. So again, I asked this question earlier to you. Are you noticing a theme? And more importantly, why do these freeze points keep on leading me to money? And I want you to see this too, because again, we are in this world. It's a new economic era. There is a great reset happening right now. The world is changing. There's winners, there's going to be winners, there's going to be losers. You have a choice to make. Do you want to be on the winning team or do you want to be in the one that gets left behind and is stuck complaining about inflation with no real alternatives? Because at the end of the day, guys, aside from growing your income, well, you need to grow your assets too. You can make all the money in the world, but if you're going to make this money, get a better job, grow your income, you need to invest it. So yes, go out there and earn your checks, earn your dollars, earn your euros, wherever you may be. But you need to know how to put that money to work. And the beauty of markets is that it enables you to compound that money. And it's easier to not just maintain your wealth with inflation, but actually use it as a way to grow your wealth. Because you can only, aside from increasing your income, the only way to beat inflation is to grow your wealth and be invested in the market and discover the opportunities and the sectors of the economy that will flourish in those environments. You can't cut expenses forever, right? Eventually, there's no more expenses left to cut. You either have to grow your income or grow your assets. Well, we're here today to talk about growing your assets, and it's repeatable and doable over time. So let's talk about markets now going into year end. I've showed you some of what we've been able to achieve, but what I need you to do now is be prepared for the S&P 500 to easily, this is like very conservative, guys, very conservative. We're going higher, but my freeze point system is saying, hey, this is like pit stop number one. S&P 500, 7,400. Okay, 7,400 S&P 500. The Dow, 52K. The Dow is hanging around what? Like 44,000 or so and some change. Okay, 42, 44,000 in that ballpark. I mean, again, these are very conservative estimates. And what I'm about to share with you here, this isn't even the full story. The US, these markets are not even home to the best opportunities right now. And I'm going to explain to you why. NASDAQ, easily above 24,000. That's not even the most exciting thing that I'm ready to share with you today. Okay. But if you notice a theme in the trades that I shared earlier, artificial intelligence, super chip technology, quantum computing, nuclear stocks, cryptocurrency. Not all of those stocks fell into this category, but this is only a handful of the stocks that I've traded. I'm not gonna, waste your time taking you through every single, winning stock that I had. oh, look, I bought this nuclear stock. I bought this crypto stock. No, I want you to see how the freeze point system is able to identify this stuff. But I think the fusion or the combination of these three sectors, artificial intelligence, super chip technology, quantum computing, what do they need? What do they need? They need nuclear power. We're going to have to make some decisions here as a country, as a society here soon. Do we want cheap electricity for the masses, or do we want artificial intelligence? Or the third choice is we invest heavily into nuclear. And if you are keeping track of some of these nuclear stocks, well, like we have, you're seeing how the market seems to be making up its mind. Looks like we're going the nuclear route. And of course, there's crypto. Of course, there is crypto as well, cryptocurrencies, especially Ethereum. I like it. I like it very much. So what I want to do now is actually share with you the various sectors of the S&P 500. This is very important. This helps us measure where the money is flowing in the market. And as it turns out, there are certain sectors of the market that will do better at various stages of the market cycle. What does that mean? Well, let me explain. You're not going to see technology be the best performing sector if you are about to have a market crash. That just doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. You see sectors like utilities, sectors like healthcare, sectors like consumer staples typically doing the best before you begin a bear market. Well, if you go back to the market bottom of April 7th, what have we been seeing lead in this market? You have seen sectors like technology, industrials, consumer discretionary, and communications all lead. They've all been leading. They've all been leading. Now, I actually want you to pay attention to XLK and XLC here very closely because it actually ties into something I'm going to be discussing with you later on at the end of this discussion today. Okay, what do you see at the bottom? Healthcare, consumer staples, utilities. So you're seeing all the strong sectors that point to a growing economy and a strong market leading, outperforming, and you're seeing all the sectors that say, hey, things aren't so good, doing bad. That's what you want to see. This is a masterpiece recipe for market success. Okay, I've seen this script before. I've seen this story played out hundreds of times. And like I said, we just got out of the first inning of this market rally. There's still 8 more to go. Let's kind of zoom out and look at different asset classes. Okay, the best performing asset since April 7th has been Ethereum. Ethereum. Bitcoin second. NASDAQ 100 QQQ up almost 35%. The S&P's up only around 28%. Okay. VT is a Vanguard total market. Okay, so global stocks underperforming the S&P a little bit, but if you've been paying attention, I'll show this to you in a couple slides here. International stocks have been doing a lot better than U.S. stocks. We've seen a total script flip. Okay, the script has been flipped. For the last several years, we have seen U.S. stocks and specifically U.S. tech absolutely destroy and outperform everything else in the world. Well, that has not been the case year to date. We have seen a lot of frustration in US based investors, so if you're caught with the S&P only being up, 28% off of the April 7th low, well, you know what? You can be doing a lot better than that. Now here I'm looking at the various sectors in the S&P 500 since the start of the year. You have industrials as the best performing sector of the year. Technology was up there a moment ago, but it did slip some. I am expecting it to make a comeback overall. But again, the story goes a lot deeper than that. Let's take a look at various asset classes. The best performing asset year to date, just as of recently, is Ethereum, up 33% year to date. The S&P 500, guys, is only up 10%. That's not good enough. That doesn't cut it for me. That's not how I've been able to beat the market by over 500% over the last 5 years. Okay? If you get the sense that you can beat the S&P 500, well, you're in the right place, guys. You're in the right place. The second best performing asset of the year, silver, followed by gold, then Bitcoin, VT. You can see international stocks, global stocks outperforming even the NASDAQ 100 only by a couple of percent. But you can look at various countries out there like Poland, like Greece, like Austria. Um, I'm going to share with you in the next slide where I think the real opportunity is. The country that I think has the most amount of opportunity here going forward and actually ties into some of the greater themes related to technology and AI and quantum and super chip technology and nuclear. It all ties together. And I think you're going to see it make a whole lot of sense by the end of this discussion. So here's the market game plan, guys. You know, I have been seeing a lot of parallels to this age that we're living in right now, kind of like the 1920s. You're seeing this economy framed by the Trump administration as the golden age of America. Well, the 1920s was known as the Roaring Twenties. You had an accommodative Fed. You had, some protectionist trade policies around that time. You had the Republicans controlling the House and the Senate, and you had a businessman as president. You had all sorts of new technologies and gizmos and gadgets coming out that completely revolutionized American life. I mean, we went from an agricultural society to a more industrial society in America after that. I mean, yeah, we were already an industrial powerhouse, but what came after the Roaring Twenties and ultimately the Great Depression fundamentally changed the US economy. And I think we're going through that now. We're going through that now. The administration's plan is to run this economy hot. They want lower taxes, they want lower interest rates, they want less regulations. They want to run this thing as hot as they can because there is a fiscal disaster waiting to happen in Washington. And the only way out of this mess that this administration sees is to grow our way out of it. No more are the years of 1 to 3% economic growth. They're shooting for 5, 6, 7% year over year economic growth. That being said, we have been in a Goldilocks scenario whereby we haven't had inflation accelerating to the upside recently. We've had a calm in the storm. We're in the eye of the inflationary storm, and we've still been able to make money in this market. Okay. That being said, when inflation starts to rear its ugly head once again, probably by the end of the year, I'm going to say by the end of the year, start of next year, you're going to need to be prepared. The time to wait has passed. You can't hesitate. Hesitation in markets is death by 1,000 cuts. That's why I have this freeze point system that tells me exactly when to act and what to act upon. But honestly, it's more important about when to act versus what to act. Uh, so how much inflation will return? Well, I'm not one of those dollar collapse people. I'm not going to sit here and try and scare you. But the fact of the matter is that if you have inflation, running at 7 to 10% per year, and you're not growing your wealth by at least 7 to 10% per year, or you're not growing your income by at least 7 to 10% per year, you are becoming less wealthy. You're becoming poorer, and that is a problem. You see, in this economic world in which we live, and I'm not even saying I agree with it. I'm not saying it's good or bad or right or wrong. It just is. You're either growing or you're shrinking. And the beauty is that freeze point system over time allows us to keep growing, allows us to keep growing. Okay. So inflation is going to make a comeback, guys. And off the back of what? Lower interest rates. You had Fed Chair Powell last week said, hey, you know what? I give up. We're going to lower interest rates. You had Trump trying to fire a Fed governor. Hey, we've talked about stacking of various institutions here in America. I think we're going to see the Fed stacked, guys. We're going to see a bunch of dubs get put in, and they're going to run this economy hot. They're going to keep interest rates lower compared to where they should be, which means a lot of money is going to be going into stocks. The dollar is going to be weak, which is the biggest point here today. What does a weak dollar mean? It means there's going to be tremendous international opportunities. Where? Well, what is the other big tech powerhouse? They announced themselves to the world back in January. Big tech powerhouse. I mean, is it Japan? Is it South Korea? Is it Singapore? Well, it's in that region of the world. Well, what other country is a big powerhouse, big economy, and announced to themselves on the world stage when it comes to artificial intelligence? That country is China. That country is China. And the beauty is that the freeze point system keeps us agnostic. In other words, it doesn't matter whether a setup is coming from China or Germany or Japan or the UK or Saudi Arabia or South Africa. It lets us know where the opportunity is coming from. So it runs deeper than just saying, hey, the freeze point cracks and we get in. Yeah, that's how we make our money. But the system goes a lot deeper than that. So what you've seen so far today is not luck, is not luck. This is time tested. It's truly tested. You can keep trading blind, or you can join me in this market environment, okay? Because we have this fusion, this trinity of sectors that are revolutionizing the global economy. We have greater macroeconomic forces that are taking place now, sending some of the best opportunities abroad. What I'm saying is you could see the S&P 500 go up another 20 to 30% from here easily. But what if the Chinese market went up 100% or 200% over the next 6 to 12 months? We've seen it happen before, and it can happen again. But that doesn't mean that every Chinese stock is going to go up by that amount. In fact, there will be certain Chinese stocks, there will be certain international stocks, it won't just be in China, that will go up significantly more than that. In fact, the freeze point system already has a lot of these on my radar. Now, there will be stocks in the US that do very well. Okay. In fact, the stock that I'm sharing with you today is a US based stock. It's a certain category of US based stock that is setting up for quite frankly, a really powerful short squeeze. And I'll talk about that when we get to that moment in today's discussion. But you're not losing because you're wrong. One of the most famous sayings in trading is that, do you want to be right or do you want to make money? Okay. You're losing because you're late. You're losing because you're late and your timing is off. You're zigging when the market is zagging, and that's a problem. You saw the moves happen after the cracks form. When the move happens, you can't chase. We don't chase. I am not one to chase. There is something about like the law of attraction, right? If you want something so bad, the universe doesn't always give that to you, right? It's almost as if when you stop wanting it so bad, that the universe has a way of bringing it to you. Okay. So you either have to increase your discipline or decrease your desire. Well, fortunately, on the discipline front, Freeze Point has us covered. On the desire front, well, we're going to talk about ways that you can bring this money into your direction. So what if you could see the crack form in the freeze point before the market erupted, not after the fact, not from moving averages and lagging indicators that, say, oh, the market is in an uptrend after it's already rallied 30%. That's useless. Useless. Freeze points tell you when the move is happening in real time. And, I've been working with traders now for many, many years. You take a look here at what my friend and fellow trader Jeff has to say. I'm taking your trades live and I'm seeing them outperforming the market is up or down. So very important. Okay. And the market's up 5%, freeze points us to being up more, 10%, 15%. That's what we do. You saw it in my results, beating the market by over 500% over the last 5 years. Eddie G. Eddie G's been trading with me for a while. Okay. He's really figuring out these freeze points. I cannot emphasize enough how incredible your recommendations have been for me. I don't get to join in on your live sessions on a regular basis, but I try to catch up after hours. Thank you for your incredible recommendations and analysis. Again, this is what we're talking about, guys. This is not, I'm not the type of trader to say, hey, come along for the ride and overnight you're going to be a millionaire. That's not how I do things. So I want you to be very clear. I want to be very clear in your understanding of what we're doing here. Okay. Markets move over periods of time. Most of the time they go up. We're amplifying those moves. Freeze points are giving us a moment in time where we can jump in, get our act together, outperform, and repeatedly do so. Repeatedly do so. That's why Jeff said, hey, whether the market's up or down, I see your positions up more. Well, here's the proof, guys. This is where it is. So on that very important note, if you would like to take the next step in your trading journey and join me in outperforming the S&P and absolutely crushing it over a series of years, over a series of quarters, over a series of months. Okay. The Trinity Trade system is what you are looking for. So what we have today is an absolutely incredible offer for you. Okay. I love to teach people. I love to educate people. I love to show them how the world and the markets work. You see where I come from. I'm here in Italy now, but I do live in the States. I grew up in an old Rust Belt town. All right. I didn't go to Chicago. I didn't go to New York. I'm not like those old school traders in that regard. I learned how to trade on the internet. I learned how to trade on the charts. So when it comes to breaking down how these freeze points are working, when the breakout is happening, I share that in my Trinity Trade Masterclass. You discover all the secrets of what goes in to these big moves before they happen. And what I'm doing is I'm actually teaching you what I am looking for in these setups, how this system works, and how it's repeated over and over again. I'm giving you all the math behind it, all the logic, all the thinking, broken down into a very simple, easy to understand format. Once you understand that, I'm also sending out trade ideas that satisfy this criteria. I send out at least on average one trade per week, but honestly, there'll be some weeks, the traders that are, in the room with me, in the pits with me, in the trenches with me, they're getting more than 52 trades per year. But these are trades that satisfy very specific criteria. We're looking to make substantially more on these trades compared to what we're willing to risk. That's very important. Okay. Coaching calls. Listen, I'm not the type of trader that's going to send out these alerts and then run away and not update you on them. So very important. I want you to know how these positions are being managed, what the targets are, any updates or developments on new freeze points forming on these trades, on these positions, because the market is a dynamic entity, right? There's always information and data coming in and going out. And it's not something that you can just say, oh, I looked at the market on August 11th and it said this, and that's all the work I need to do. No, it's always changing. So I'm always here in the trenches, in the pits, right in front of you, like I am now. You see my face, you hear my voice. I'm talking to you 2 times per week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, specifically giving you market updates and, most importantly, portfolio updates. Okay. Because I do put my money where my mouth is. I was showing you the trade results earlier. I am managing these trades. I'm actually telling people that are trading with me through these trade alerts how much money to put on a percentage basis of their portfolio into the trades. That's the key. That's the key. And once you take the Trinity Trade Masterclass, you're going to understand, oh, wow, the light bulb's going to go off. This is the ultimate hack for trading. The Trinity Trade watch list, there are thousands of stocks out there, thousands and thousands. And there's always stocks that are being IPO'd, coming public. There are stocks going bankrupt. That's the beauty of the system that we live in. If you're not adapting, if you're not growing, you're dying. And we're here to grow. We are here to grow. And so I actually have a screener that I teach and I share with you in my masterclass. I run that screener. It helps me narrow down the thousands of stocks that are out there in this market. And then I actually go through all the stocks on this screener and then put the best ones on my watch list. So right now I'm sitting around 65 names. Actually added a couple more to that earlier today. And then one thing that I really enjoy doing is quarterly forecasts. Intervals of time are very important. You'll understand this the longer you trade with me. You'll understand this after the masterclass. Daily periods, weekly periods, monthly periods, quarterly periods, annual periods. You need to be thinking in terms of time. That's why I said today, if you're missing something in your trading process, it's time. It's time. The timing is off. When you look at a chart, there's a y-axis, which is the price. There's also the x-axis, which is time. Are you looking at time? What is your relationship with time? Guys, there are trillions upon trillions of dollars in this universe. A central bank, all they have to do is just click a button and create another billion here, another billion there, a few trillion here, a few trillion there. We just need a sliver of the pie. We just need a sliver of the pie. But when it comes to time, time is fixed. Time is fixed, right? Time comes and goes like the seasons. Time comes and goes like the years. It's a lot different. It's a lot different. So if you aren't thinking in terms of time, come check this out. Come check out the masterclass because I think you will find that when you start to look at markets through the lens of time, that a whole new world will open up for you. And then, of course, on Fridays, I like to recap what's going on. Fridays are a very important day for me, because it ends the week. It ends the week. And I like to give you a final score of how things have gone on the week, how it went for our portfolio, how it went for our overall market outlook. Now, I've added a few new features to this Trinity Trade service that we have here. First is the idea of a lotto trade. So when I talked about Ethereum earlier, okay, Ethereum was actually the inspiration for the creation of this lotto trade feature in the Trinity trade. So what is a lotto trade? This is a high risk, high reward trade that kind of goes beyond the traditional Trinity trade criteria, right? So I talked about the setups we use in the masterclass. Those trades fall into those 52, at least 52 alerts per year that you get. The lotto trades, it's like a lotto pick, right? High risk, high reward. Well, it was actually Ethereum that inspired me to create this feature because back in April, I showed you how we bought IonQ on April 9th, 2 days after the market bottomed. Well, a couple of weeks later, I told the members here at Trinity Trade, I said, guys, Ethereum is about to be the next big asset in this market. And it's funny because you go back to the first quarter, everyone was saying, oh, Ethereum's dead. The gas fees are too high. Solana this, Solana that, Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that. Well, they're singing an awfully different tune now. And it's because of our relationship with time. It's because of these setups and these ice bands that we're looking at that I told members, I said, listen, buy Ethereum now. April 23rd was the day, and you've seen the returns. It's been the best performing asset year to date. It's been the best performing asset by a wide margin since April 7th, up almost triple. I mean, you're talking, you get in on a trade like that, that makes your year. The market has themes like this once or twice per year on average. And if you catch those swings, that's how you're able to outperform by such a wide margin as I have over extended periods of time. These can be identified, these can be spotted, and more importantly, this can be repeated time and time again. Now, I also told you I was going to talk about options. I was going to talk about options. So the results that you have seen here today, the beating of the S&P 500 by over 500% over a period of 5 years, that's been achieved without options, without leverage for that matter. I have a lot of traders that trade with me that trade options. Given my time in the wealth management world, I worked with options. I work with a lot of traders that use options. But I've always had members saying, hey, like, give us some options trades on your picks because they're the most like violent moves that unfold in this market environment. Like if we amplify them with options, we'll make a lot more money. So I said, all right, I listened to you. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're hearing. I said, all right, fine. We're going to add these super lotto monthly options trade alerts. So once per month, I'm going to be sending out a super lotto pick in the form of an options. We're going to be starting that next week in September. So I don't think you want to miss this because you've seen some of the moves that have happened in short periods of time. That is a absolutely beautiful environment. Remember, time, because when you trade options, you got to think about time as well. It's not just price. You're dealing with time. Okay. So the Trinity Trade Masterclass is your blueprint to outsized gains. We've been beating the S&P by over 500% over the last 5 years. So stop trading blind. Stop listening to the pundits on TV. Stop trading based on headlines. You're wasting your precious and valuable time. There is trillions of dollars in this world, guys, and I think we'd all be happy with just a fraction of that amount. So you're never going to look at price again, the same again. You're never going to look at time the same again. Here I have Shirley that's been trading with me now for a couple of years. Spent the weekend looking at accounts that she trades. So pleased with the results that she's received. I would like to see my accounts double in 2025, if not more. I believe it is possible. Okay, again, those weekly trade alerts, high conviction trades, very specific criteria that needs to be satisfied in order for me to even put this in front of you. Again, I'm trading these names too. I would never put a stock out there that I wouldn't trade myself. Okay. The freeze point power, these opportunities are built off these pressure zones in the tape, in the charts. Once you see them, you cannot unsee them. Okay. One day, you're just going to be staring at the charts. It's going to click and your whole world is going to change. I'm going to show you how to do that with these trade alerts with the masterclass. Very easy to follow instructions. I'm going to share that with you with the pick that I promised you. Stay tuned, guys. I do have that stock pick for you coming in just a moment. These twice per week live sessions, in time, in the moment updates, fresh analysis. The market's always changing. Our model is always evolving. It keeps us dynamic. It keeps us on our toes. We know when to take risk. We know when to not take risk. That's why we bought IonQ 2 days after the market bottom. That's why we bought Ethereum in April, and it's been the best performing asset year to date. And since the April low, it's why we kept adding to those to the positions in the market in May when everyone was saying, hey, everything's going to crash, trade wars, global depression. It never happened. It never happened. My parents, God bless them. I really appreciate all the sacrifices they have made for me. Even when the market was blowing up, they're like, oh, if this trading thing doesn't work out for you, you always have a place. I'm like, mom and dad, I'm okay. Believe me, we can make money in this market environment, whichever direction it's moving. That's the beauty of this system. Freeze points to the upside, freeze points to the downside. I'm not a one-trick pony. I'm just showing you setups that I've taken over the last few months, and the trend is higher. The most amount of setups, the largest number of setups that you're going to have, the most amount of opportunity you're going to have right now is to the upside in this market. So there are ways to trade that via options. There are ways to trade that via individual stocks. I'm going to give you all those. Okay. Watch these freeze points unfold. Trade side by side to me. Learn how to beat the market. Don's been trading with me for a while as well. I cannot tell you how my trading has improved now that I am trading with you and learning your techniques. My portfolio is doing so well. Gianni is very extremely intelligent about the market. Along with giving you his ideas, he also teaches you how to look for good charts and coaches you through the process. I could not be happier. Thank you, Gianni. No, Don, thank you. Thank you for making the decision to take your wealth and financial future into your own hands. Again, the watch list, guys, can't say this enough. This is really what helps so much. Cut through all the noise. Trinity Trade watch list, over 65 names. If you are already ready to commit, theotrade.com/Trinity. There is a link in the chat. There is a link in the chat. So, I cut through all the garbage stocks out there. We're not looking to get cute. I'm not looking to say, hey, United Healthcare is bottoming on this exact day. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Okay. This list is always evolving and keeping the top performing stocks on your radar. Theotrade.com/Trinity. Like I said, guys, I showed you the trades I took. 100K on the line, at least. We scale up, we scale down. This is how percentages work. I teach you how that works in the masterclass. theotrade.com/Trinity. Learn by watching me trade. I sat across the table from so many people, especially when I worked in the advisory world. I know what people are able to tolerate in this market. I understand what it means to put your hard-earned money on the line. Okay. Well, that's why I decided to go this route in my life. theotrade.com/Trinity. Quarterly deep dive sessions. Step back from the noise and see the big picture before anyone else. Okay. Coming into the third quarter, we said stocks are going up. Going into the second quarter, when the market was dropping hard, in this quarterly session, I shared with members, I said, guys, get ready to buy the dip. We were already prepared to do so thanks to the Trinity trade system and how we use freeze points. Focus on the future. The opportunities are there right in front of you. Artificial intelligence, quantum computing, nuclear, the autonomous revolution, cryptocurrencies, international stocks. No matter where it is, you are going to find it with the Trinity trade. theotrade.com/Trinity. Join me today. The weekly updates, so very important. You got to know how the score is settled on the week. I find that some of my best research and analysis happens after the closing bell on Friday. I'm going to teach you what to look for in that regard as well. theotrade.com/Trinity. Super Lotto trades, okay? One time per month, you're going to get an options trade that fits this criteria. High risk, high reward. We are looking for massive moves, amplified leverage directions. You saw the percentage moves in the period of time just with straight up stock. Well, what if we added options to the mix? How could that change your trading results? How could that change your life for that matter? Now, the Trinity trades, I told you how Ethereum was the inspiration for these Lotto trades. Well, I started off doing one a month, and so far they've all been profitable. We started this earlier this year. They've all been profitable trades. So I said, you know what? Let's double this up. 2 Lotto trades per month. 2 Lotto trades per month. Swing style setups that are showing up very strongly in the Trinity trade system. So small stakes, big potential. The risk pales in comparison to the rewards on these stocks, especially once you start seeing when we are entering. And to top all of this off, guys, we offer a 30-day money back guarantee. Listen, I want you to try this out at no risk to yourself. Okay, we're coming into a very important time in the market right now. We've been up now for almost 5 months. Are we going to see a big correction, or is this correction that everybody and their mother is anticipating not going to happen? Well, fortunately, the freeze points guide us through this moment in time. There are no questions asked. If you want your money back within 30 days, just send us an email here, support@theotrade.com, and receive a full refund. No excuses, no questions, no commentary. You want your money back, you get it. But I'm going to tell you, we're doing that quarterly masterclass on September 24th. That's within this 30-day window. I don't think once you go through that, I don't think once you go through the Trinity Trade Masterclass, I don't think once you start seeing the results for yourselves that you're going to want a refund. You see what this system can do over a period of time. Okay, it is repeatable at scale. We are scaling up our wealth. We are moving with the frequency of the market. The market has a vibe, it has a personality. And you know what? When you're trying to get on good terms with the market, you have to respect it a little bit. You have to respect it a lot, a lot. That's what we do here in the Trinity trade. So on top of all of the items that I just shared with you, you also get unlimited email mentoring with me. Any questions you ask within 24 hours, you send me an email. I'm happy to explain any trade, any component of the Trinity trade system, any setup that you would like to learn more about. I am your mentor on call. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you grow your wealth, and I'm here to make this market experience significantly better for you. So join us today, theotrade.com/Trinity. Let me actually get this up here for you so you can see this real quick. So theotrade.com/Trinity. This is so very important because we only are taking 50 spots at this point in time. And so you cannot really afford to wait or hesitate on this offer because as you're about to see, you can also give us a call at 623-244-5657. Returns in IonQ like 58%, Robinhood 43 to 66%, all in a period of a few weeks to a few months. Okay. We're not working with RSI. We're not working with the MACD to give us the entry points. I'm not saying they're futile indicators, but most importantly, you are trading based off the freeze points. The economy is changing. The world is changing. There is a massive shift taking place. You either get with the times or you get left behind. We've been beating the market for a very long time, and it can be done. We are adding additional features to this Trinity Trade service to boost your returns. Okay. So there's a couple ways that you can go about joining us. I want to scroll down here and show you the order form. Okay, you put in your credit card number here, the expiration month, the expiration year, the security code at the back. You can do one payment of $19.95 for 1 year, or two payments, one of 1,000 and the second of 1,000. If you want to join us, and you can even join us for 2 more years. That's 3 years of the Trinity trade for $3,000. Okay. Absolutely amazing value. Okay. The one thing I want you to be sure of is that when you put your email address into this form, make sure it's the email address that you want the trade alerts to be sent to. Okay. Theotrade.com/Trinity. Give us a call here at Theotrade 623-244-5657. Okay. So, like I said, you have any questions, you just send me an email. We have 50 spots available. They're already starting to trickle in now. I appreciate you guys tuning in and joining me today. I do need to still share the trade, set up the trade idea that I actually sent out to members today. Trinity Trade members did get this idea, but before, just take a look at these returns that we have been able to achieve with this methodology, beating the S&P 500 by over 500% since 2020. Some frequently asked questions that we have here, okay? You can also give us a call if you'd like to speak to one of our members on the support team, 623-244-5657. What do you need to trade with freeze points with me? You need a laptop and an internet connection. That's it. This is not a membership. We will not auto renew or bill you again. You're going to be getting all of the updates that we get into your email inbox. Okay, there also is a private chat room where we discuss. That's where we go live together. All the trades will be posted there. There's multiple places where the trades are posted. So if you're on the move, don't have access to your email, we have text message alerts as well. All trades can be sent to your phone. You can use any broker to enter your Trinity trades. Retirement accounts are a great way to use this. You can also email me at any time and receive a response within 24 hours, including trade-related questions. 50 spots are available. They're actually getting snapped up pretty quickly right now. So get your results, take action, enroll for the Trinity trade now. 30 days, no risk, money back guarantee. You don't want to miss this. So let me actually jump back over here to the order form. Give us a call, 623-244-5657. You know, DoorDash, 33% in a couple of months. Astera Labs, Palantir, names that have been dominating the headlines. Okay, 623-244-5657. Theotrade.com/Trinity. Okay, we're talking $19.95 for 1 year or two payments of $1,000 each. You can even do 3 years of the Trinity trade for $3,000. Absolutely incredible value that you need to take advantage of today. Unless you want to get left behind in this market, I don't think that you do. I don't think that you do. The economy is changing. inflation is going to be coming back at some point. And so that's what I had to share with you today. So let's talk about a new freeze point setup. I got this stock here satisfying all my criteria. Next nav. Okay, so if you were paying attention to the presentation earlier, you probably see the freeze bands starting to form on this one. Okay, this is actually a small cap stock. It's part of the Russell 2000. Russell 2000 has been hated for a very long time. It's heavily shorted by a lot of institutions. Like I said, guys, that's not the smart money. Don't fall into the trap of thinking Wall Street automatically means smart money, because that's not what it means. It's not what it means. The smart money is based on the system that you are using. Freeze points puts you into that category. So this next NAV stock, here is the trade idea. Okay. Buy 277 shares of NN on a close above $18. Okay. So we're actually waiting for a very specific time of the day to make a trade. Why 277 shares? Well, because we are operating off of a $100,000 portfolio, and this is a 5% position. So again, I tell you how much to buy based on share amounts, how much to buy based on percentage amounts. If you're not working with 100K, if you're working with less, that is fine because we're going based on percentages. These results are repeatable based on percentages. Stop loss on this trade. All trades must have a stop loss on a close below $16.42. We actually have enough cash in our portfolio to take this position outright. We don't need to sell anything currently. We're looking to sell this entire position on any rally to 27 bucks. So as you can see, we are looking at around $6 that could be made on this stock for every $1 that we're risking. In other words, there's about 55 to 60% upside on this stock, while we're only really risking around 9%, 8 to 9% on this trade. This is how I teach members of the Trinity Trade how to trade. So this trade offers excellent risk-adjusted returns with clearly defined exit and entry parameters. So that is the trade today that I want you to take away with. I sent it out to members today. If you're on the fence, take this trade. If it works out, we'll still be here. You can give us a call, 623-244-5657. theotrade.com/Trinity. Okay. I'm looking forward to you joining me and taking the next step on your journey here in these markets, because it's so very important if you want to keep up with the times. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind. So 623-244-5657. You can join me at the Trinity Trade for $19.95 for 1 year, or you can do 2 payments of $1,000, 3 years for $3,000. theotrade.com/Trinity, 623-244-5657. Okay, so this is what we are dealing with right now. Let me actually share the trade idea one more time with you. We are looking to buy 277 shares of NN is the ticker symbol. The stock is Next Nav. It's a small cap stock involved in satellites, outer space, and all that good stuff. So we are looking to get long on a close above $18 with a stop loss and a close below $16.42. 5% of our account value. Okay, $100,000 portfolio assumed. If you're trading with 5 grand, if you're trading with 10 grand, if you're trading with $1 million, if you're trading with 10 million, doesn't matter. I've worked with traders of all shapes and sizes. Believe me when I say that. I've even worked with some billionaire traders, believe it or not. Okay, they see the value in the system. You can see it as well. We're risking about $1 to make 6. Wash, rinse, repeat. Okay, looking to sell everything on a rally to $27 per share. Okay, so one more time, in case you are still with me here and still on the fence, you can give us a call, 623-244-5657. 30-day money back guarantee, $19.95. here to join me at the Trinity Trade for 1 year or 2 payments of $1,000 each. You can even add 2 more years for an additional $1,000, bringing your total to $3,000 for 3 years of the Trinity Trade. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today and for investing in yourself and your knowledge and your education as well. You know where to find me here at Theo Trade. If you ever have any questions, you can send me an email, send us a note, support@theotrade.com, address it to Gianni. I'm always happy to continue the discussion or answer any questions that you may have. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Give us a call, 623-244-5657, theotrade.com/Trinity. Thank you all so much for joining me today. That'll be all for now. Take care, everyone. Thank you.